What's up guys? For today's video, I'm going to show you how to make your own Versatrack accessories using parts you can find right on Amazon. I'm also going to show you how I was able to convert a couple accessories that weren't made for the Versatrack to work with the Versatrack. That way you're not having to spend a premium on buying Versatrack specific accessories. Now, if you've never heard of the Versatrack before, basically it's just Tracker's version of the rail system. You can attach accessories right to the side of the boat here rather than having to drill into the boat to mount things. Just as an example, the fishing rod holder over there is mounted on the Versatrack. The main thing I'm trying to get done today is to build my own Bimini mounts. I have a Bimini over here that's ready to go. I just need to build some mounting points so I'll be able to attach it to the boat. There's a couple companies that actually sell Versatrack Bimini mounts. Tracker makes one, and I think Brocraft makes one also. They're like around $150 for the couple of mounts. If I have this all priced out right, my version is gonna cost like $20, $30. So huge price savings, you can build it yourself, and you can use this setup to mount any kind of accessories that you're looking for. The parts that I'm gonna be using today are specifically sized carriage bolts and nylon knobs. I'll have links to all the parts I'm gonna be using in this video so you guys can build them yourself really easy. The only thing that I bought locally was this 1/8 piece of aluminum. This is actually some scrap aluminum that I've had for a while. This is where everything is gonna get mounted to for the Bimini. I'm gonna be cutting this down to size, drilling out some holes to run the carriage bolts, and then mounting the Bimini hardware right to the aluminum angle. All right, so with all that being said, let's just jump right into it. The first thing I'm gonna show you guys is how I converted a standard fishing rod holder into working with the Versatrack, and it's actually so simple. I'll have links to this specific fishing rod holder so you guys can find this yourself, but basically this is a rail mounted fishing rod holder. The way this mount typically works is that if you had a rail running down your boat, this would go on one side of the rail, this would go on the other, you would bolt this down, and then this would give you a mounting point for the fishing rod holder. Now, by using these specifically sized carriage bolts, you can run them right down your rail and reuse the mounting holes that would be used to connect this to the railing. Once you have the carriage bolts threaded through, you can use these nylon knobs. They're just the right size for these mounts here. Then once tightened down, these knobs lock this mount holder in place, which gives you a spot for your fishing rod holder. Now, this is completely movable. All you need to do is loosen the knobs. You can slide this up and down the track for wherever you feel is appropriate to use your fishing rod holder. I found this was a great way to add rod holders to the boat. I've got 4 of them scattered around, and these specific rod holders were like, I think it was like $15 for a 2-pack. So for $30 to $40 to get the entire boat kitted out with rod holders was a great deal for me. All right, now that that's been removed, let's go ahead and check out how we're gonna do the Bimini mounts. Okay, so my general idea for these Bimini mounts is that aluminum angle is gonna attach to the bottom portion of the Versatrack. I'm gonna be drilling some holes to fit the carriage bolts through, and then the actual Bimini mounts are gonna mount to the top side of the aluminum angle. So this will come up and over and give mounting points for the Bimini. This here is an example of the Bimini mount. So we're gonna be mounting this something like that. And then the knobs are gonna fit roughly just like that. So all in all, I only need about this much of the aluminum angle. I'm gonna go ahead and cut down some pieces on the chop saw, and then I can work on measuring everything out for drilling holes. For cutting, I'm just gonna be using a chop saw. I have a fine finish blade on here, so it's really fine teeth. This cuts through aluminum really well. All right, so as I said, we're gonna be doing about 3.5 inches. And then once I have one cut, I'll just use that as my guide to cut the rest of them. So what I'm gonna do is try to mark the center of each side here. I'm gonna use these knobs to figure out exactly how far I need to come in, and then I'm gonna drill these out, and then we can try them on the Versatrack to see if everything fits up like I'm expecting it to. I think I got it perfect for this one. So now I'm just trying them out. That is absolutely perfect. It's absolutely perfect. Now this will fit right on top like that, and we have ourselves a Bimini mount. I am really happy with this. I could have even gone with a little bit smaller carriage bolts, I'll have two different sizes in the description. I'll have my original size that worked really good for the rod holders, and then I'll have another size that you can use for the Biminis that are just probably about a half to a quarter inch smaller. All right, well, with this proof of concept working, I'm gonna go ahead and get all of the Versatrack holes drilled out. Then I'm gonna come back and we'll work on the actual Bimini mounts. All right, with all of the Versatrack drill holes complete, now I'm gonna work on the Bimini hardware. We need to attach 4 of these and 2 of these. So this should be pretty easy. I'm just gonna do my best to center it on each position. Okay, this has the knobs on the outside, so we will have to be mindful of that when we're putting this all together, which side we wanna put the knobs on. As far as mounting these to the aluminum, I'm probably gonna use rivets if I have the right size. All right, so I have a bunch of these 1/2-inch rivets, which actually fit pretty perfectly right into the slot here. And just using the Versatrack holes, they'll definitely fit. So I think I'm actually gonna use these aluminum rivets. That way I'm not worried about any kind of corrosion between the stainless and the aluminum. And that'll look really clean. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So it means we're gonna be drilling out 3/16 holes. I'm gonna try to get this as centered as possible. And I'm gonna run through, drill out all the holes, and then once these are ready for the hardware to get installed, I'm gonna clean them up then. All right, that was a lot of work, but now I have all of the mounts complete and everything lines up perfect. So now what I'm gonna do is use my sander and just take off any sharp edges, round the corners, and just really clean these up. I'm debating on painting them. I don't have any paint on me right now, but I may run out to the store and grab some black enamel. That way it would just kind of blend in with the boat. You wouldn't even see them. For right now, I'm gonna go ahead and get these cleaned up, and then I'll show you how they look afterwards. All right, so I did run out to the store. I got myself some Rust-Oleum enamel. I got these all cleaned up. I'm gonna wipe them down with some acetone, get them prepped for the paint, and then I'm gonna go put a coat of paint on them. I think it's gonna make it blend into the boat that much better. Let's go do that. All right, so I have everything pretty much set up the way it's gonna get installed. The instructions call for the knob to screw in from the outside of the boat. So for this, I'm considering this the left-hand side of the boat and then this the back of the boat. This is gonna have to be mounted with the bolt side on the inside. That way the knob can screw through and connect into the bolt. So these are set up in that way. Same thing for this side. These are going to be set up opposite. So the bolt is on the inside of that side of the boat, and then that's the same no matter what. All right, so with all of the Bimini mounts complete, I went ahead and got the Bimini installed to the boat so I can show you how this all works. Now, I've actually had this out a couple times since I installed this. I was getting this Bimini installed for a trip. So I went on the trip before I had a chance to finish the end of the video. So you guys get to see how it looks in a real world scenario. So I was pretty happy about that. Overall, it worked really great, and we had some really great functionality out of the gear tracks here. One of the things we needed to do was raise and lower the Bimini height as we were either using it or stowing it. During the day, when we were out on the water, this was a great position to keep it in. Having it in this half stowed position was great because you could still get on and off the boat, move around and stuff like that, but it was also really easy to then deploy the Bimini and use it. However, when we were trailering it, like taking it on and off the lake or any kind of driving and things like that, it was much better to lower the Bimini pretty much all the way down. That kept it from shaking too much while you were driving around. To do that, it was actually really easy because all we had to do was loosen up these back two brackets. These slide back, allowing the whole thing to come down. Overall, I really like the brackets, and there's nothing I really would need to change with them. Now, there was one thing I did that I actually got lucky with and I didn't plan for. So by mounting the Bimini bracket in the way that I did, it gave me just enough room to clear these cleats. If I had drilled the knob holes any higher, this would have impacted the cleats, and I would have either had to install this on this side of the cleat or this side, or I would have had to take the bracket completely off to clear it. This way, I only have to loosen the bracket to give it enough room to clear the cleat, and we're able to go over it every time. Like I said, that was more of luck than planning, but I am really happy to see that it worked out like that. So if you do have anything mounted on the top rail here, such as cleats, make sure you're accounting for that when you either buy your aluminum angle. Make sure it's long, like tall enough. I think this is 2-inch aluminum angle. And also make sure you're drilling your knob holes low enough so it can have the clearance needed to pass anything it needs to. But aside from that, the rod holders worked really well. The same situation, we were able to move this back and forth as needed, and same with the Bimini. For the Bimini, it ended up being 6 mounts in total. We have the 2 rod mounts on each side here, and then up front we have the, I don't know if you want to call it like the latch mount for the end of the Bimini that holds it taut. And then this one worked really well up here as well. I did end up getting a smaller bolt size for the Bimini here, you can see. So I'll have both the sizes in there. I think this looks way cleaner than the bolts sticking out the front. However, you may still want to use the longer bolts because it allows you to loosen this even further without the knobs falling off. Overall, I'm happy to report that the DIY Versatrack items worked really well. If you guys are looking to do this system yourself, I'll have links in the description for all of the bolt sizes and knobs and everything like that that you need to get this done. All right, guys, well, if you have any questions or feedback, feel free to drop a comment below. If you like this video, don't forget to let me know by hitting that like button. If you want to see more videos like this on this boat and others I got coming up for the channel, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.